Never a mess.
Hi, good evening. Welcome to Let's Talk with Olu. I hope you all are having a good day, a good week, and you are not buried in snow. Tonight, I will be talking with Tabia Charles Collins about women investors, particularly in real estate. She has a real passion for that. Before I introduce Tabia, let me read you her bio. And yes, I have to read it because my girl, I just can't remember all of this. So, Tabia is a dynamic leader whose journey spans athletics, business, philanthropy, and advocacy. A former Olympian, NCAA champion, and University of Miami Hall of Famer, she embodies discipline and determination. As a top ranked real estate professional, Tabia founded Tabia Charles Consulting Inc. and Wealthwise, empowering individuals, especially women, to achieve literacy. She is also the co-owner and CEO of Destiny Helpers Home Care Services, prioritizing culturally competent care, and the co-founder of Always Here Supportive Solutions, a not-profit advocating for vulnerable communities. Tabia's passion for women's empowerment extends to She Blooms and Redefining Her initiatives, fostering self-love, self-care, and personal growth. A visionary entrepreneur and advocate, she continues to inspire and uplift others through her commitment to financial independence, community support, and generational wealth. As you all know by now, I am all about self-care, self-love, empowerment, motivating, support. That's what my platform is, pardon me. That's my heart posture. That's what God placed it on my heart. That's what the Holy Spirit guides me to do. And so to have someone like Tabia join me tonight, I'm very honored. I'm going to give most of the night to her because this is her wheelhouse. She has a heart for growing generational wealth for women in real estate. Why not? Why can't we do it? So I'm going to hand the mic over to Tabia. Tabia, I know I read that bio, but tell me a little bit about yourself and then we'll go on.
Hey, Olu.
Hey, girl.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. Love and adore your show.
Thank you.
And anytime I have the platform to speak about helping women to get to be their best self, going after their goals, their dreams, and most importantly, how to create wealth in real estate. People always ask me, why are you only focusing on women? Well, I mean, I'm a woman, right? So I want to focus on the women. I understand women. I know it works for me. And even within women, we're all very different. But one thing I know for sure is that many of us, we want the life that we desire. And so many of women, they don't realize that they can do it by themselves. And if not by themselves, with other women. I've seen so many times women with partners, oh, I'm waiting for my husband to decide. I'm waiting for my boyfriend. He's not ready yet. And then 5 years passes by and their goal of maybe purchasing a home, getting an investment property, it doesn't happen because they were waiting on their partner.
Yeah.
So
if I can interject for a second. One of the things that you said is very, very, very true. And the question that you're asked about why are you focused on women?
Yes.
Let me try to answer that a little bit. She is a woman.
Yes.
Clearly. But we live in a world dominated by men.
100%.
This is not foreign to men. You're not going to see a man, and actually I was about to say you're not going to see a men's group of investors, but that's not true. That's what they do.
That's what they do.
They collaborate, they get together.
Always.
And we don't. There is that fear. And even if it's the fear of, I don't think I can do it.
Yes.
Or this is not my wheelhouse. Or let me ask my husband, boyfriend, partner,
yes,
exactly. What should we do? What should we do? And you're right. 5 years later, where you could have grown your investment, you're still trying to wait on the partner. And I'm pretty sure there's women in your group now that waited on a partner and thought, forget them. I'm just going to do it on my own.
And that is what I love. And that's exactly what it is. It's like, they've been waiting 5 years passed by, 10 years passed by. And now we are able to invest together as a sisterhood with other women. We have groups of women, groups of 4, groups of 10, groups of 50, whatever the case is. And they're investing together. And some of them have been trying to, what's interesting is when we have these calls now, oh, I've been telling my husband about it and he wants to come in and join. 5 years ago, you were trying to get him in there too. And he wasn't trying to come be a part of it. But now that they're seeing her go on her own, and it's important, especially for mothers with daughters, right? Daughters or sons. it's important that we teach our daughters that you can do it on your own.
Mhm.
And when I say on your own, you can go out there and do it and join another tribe of
Mhm.
people who have the same goals and mindset that you do and go ahead and achieve this goal. You want to buy an investment property? I got 3 women who are all on the same mindset and want to do the same thing, right? So
Mhm.
it has been my passion for a very long time, but literally it's been a year now.
Mhm.
And it all started from a small message in a Facebook group.
Can I
As you
talk
know,
about how
yes,
it
please.
started?
Yes.
It's funny because I think to myself, when I saw how long it's been over a year
Yeah,
now.
no, you're right. Yeah,
It's
over a
been, because I
year.
think it started late 2023.
100%.
October
Yes. October
2023.
2023. Yes.
I'm minding my business and a message pops up on Facebook.
Yes.
And it was talking about how many women were in the Black Queens of Durham Facebook group.
Yeah.
And if we took this amount of money and banded it together, we can do such and such. And I remember, I don't know what kind of mood I was in that day,
Right.
but I was just tired of seeing these kind of messages.
Right. And nothing happening with it.
Nothing happens. And at that point, when I jumped on, there was about 50 or 60 people who had reacted and or commented. Yes. And I said, listen, I'm so tired of the talking. We
No, for
see these, like,
sure.
it seems like every month or so somewhere this pops up about let's do.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole heated, passionate
Yeah.
discussion about it. And then it just stops right there.
Yes.
So I said, listen, if we're going to do something about it, let's do it or stop the talking. This is getting very tiring.
100%.
And then you jumped in.
Yes.
And next thing you knew, you just took off.
Yeah. If there's one thing, when I say I'm going to do something, then it's like there is
done.
nothing that's going to stop me from making it come to fruition.
Yeah.
And so I want to be able, like, when I'm talking to people, I want to walk the walk.
Mhm.
I don't want to just talk the talk.
Mm.
And you made a really good point. Like, every now and again, people get excited and a moment of ambition. And it's
Super
like, let's
excited.
do this, let's do that. But it goes to show you there's a group of 10,000 plus women. And my investment club now is about 200 people. But it goes to show you that there's a reason why only a small percentage of people get to that next level. Only a small percentage of people are willing to do what it takes to accomplish their goals, to go after what they said they want to accomplish. And, you know, this was a lot of work, one-on-ones and talking and all of this thing that I was doing and the meetings and this and late nights and messages.
And me in your
Yes,
ear
mommy.
going,
yeah,
Tabia. She's a workhorse. Seriously. She just goes and goes and goes and goes. And I get scared for her. And I think it's because of what I went through recently with my mental health and what it leads to.
Understood.
And you don't know it's going to happen until it happens. There's
happens.
no build up to going to breaking down or burning out. There's no build up. You wake up one morning and then you just literally can't move. And I'm still a little bit scared for you.
You always message Tabby, and that's why I love and appreciate you.
Yeah.
It's like,
just want to make sure you're okay.
Always. And we're good friends. And you're always like, Tabby, are you good? And Tabia. And so I've always been a person to balance a million and one things. And as the time goes by, the goal is to take things off of my list. But what I will tell you is last year, starting this investment club has been the hardest year that I've ever worked.
Wow.
Okay. And so at first you're like, is this all in vain? People book a meeting, they don't show up. People say that they want to do something and they don't follow through. But can I be honest with you? Starting 2025, this has been my busiest real estate year yet. And so people who you thought might not have been paying attention, but they were taking notes and they're ready and they're purchasing homes and we're putting offers in and they're getting their friends together. Sometimes you got to put the work in. Sometimes you got to educate those because knowledge is power. And I realize finances, real estate, investment, generational wealth, financial freedom is literally foreign language to so many people.
Absolutely. It's not only is it foreign language, it's scary.
Yes.
So even though I was part of that group, that discussion that started, I haven't even invested yet because my financial situation drastically changed after that. Yeah. Right. But I'm still part of the WhatsApp group.
Yes.
I can't come off because I watch in excitement and joy as this group goes and tours this property. And then the next thing you
Yes.
know, this group has purchased this property and
Yes.
this queen has purchased this property. And I'm sitting there just grinning from ear to
To
ear,
ear.
so proud of what you guys are accomplishing. It's foreign and
And
scary.
mad
This is
scary.
not a joke. And I can relate on so many levels to being very, very busy. Are people listening to what you're doing? Are
Yes,
people
yes.
watching what you're doing? People have heard me talk a lot of the times on my episodes about the number game.
Yes.
And Shireen had to talk me off the ledge
Right.
about not watching the numbers. Don't look at how many people are following you or not
Which
following
is
you.
so true.
I
Right.
was so caught up in the number game,
Numbers.
and that's enough to make you go a little bit
I
crazy.
believe that. Yeah.
So yes, there's those things that you don't want to watch. Keep doing what you're doing, and the people will come, the people will follow. I walk into
This
an
is
event and
it.
someone says, "Hi, Olu," and I don't know
And you
who
had
they
no
are.
idea.
I don't know who they are.
But do you see that? So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
what is 10? What is a quantity of 10 people versus 3 quality people that can support you, that will get you to where you're going?
Yeah.
100%. And I'm learning
Mhm.
that as well. You don't
Mhm.
have to, and you taught me that as well. You don't got to work with everybody. You
No.
don't have to. The one thing I'm all about is I want to show improve.
Mhm.
Once I show improve, after that, it's on you. Do you want to rock with me or not? And the proof is always in the pudding. I'm always going to show the results.
Mhm.
And after that, people who want to make a move, they'll make a move. It doesn't matter what you say. Doesn't matter what you come on the platter for them. They either want to do it or they don't want to do it.
You can bring a man to water, but you can't make him drink.
100%.
Our job, what God has placed on my heart to do and what God has placed on your heart to do,
Yes.
is what we're doing. And I'm so happy that I have people like Shireen telling me things like, "Oh, don't watch that."
Yes.
The numbers game is a lie. Those
Yes.
numbers that we see there, it's a lie.
100%.
It's a lie. Don't watch that. Keep doing what you're doing. And and I had a friend call me last year when I was planning my first conference.
Yes.
And freaking out about ticket sales. And she spoke to me too. And I'm like, you know what? They're right. So now I just get up every morning and I do what I need
You
to
do what you
do.
gotta do.
And those that want to come along will
That
come
is
along.
it.
And you did that. And you grew a group that has over 200 women.
This
Now,
is-
although your group has 200 women, not all 200 are investing.
Definitely
But I
not.
tell you, if one of those people that are not investing, myself included,
Yeah.
should they ever come into an opportunity where they have an extra few dollars,
100%.
you know where they're going with that.
And this is what it is. For some people, it's timing. And as you know, we're entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So things can go up and down for us at
sideways
any time.
quick.
Right. And it's a challenging time. The economy, even groceries are expensive. So I understand that not everybody can act now, right? But for those who can, I want to equip them with the resources, equip them with the knowledge to make informed decisions. And even with real estate, the stocks, real estate, whatever it is, things go up and down. You think you're making a strategic move and the market dips. But if there's one thing that I want to continuously scream at the top of my lungs is you've got to stay in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
Look how quickly 5 years goes by. Look how quickly 10 years goes by. Wouldn't it be nice to make $500,000 in that time?
Yeah.
To make $1 million in that time? I don't think people realize that retirement is going to come for all of us.
Sooner than we think.
Sooner than we think. And we have to have a nest egg that we can survive on.
Amen.
That we can build from.
And that we can leave to our children.
Thank you.
Before we go any further, I have to stop and do a little bit of business. I forgot to do that tonight. We know Tabia is a real estate agent. She is an investor. Co-owner of Destiny Helpers Home Care Services.
Yes.
She wears many hats, wife, mother, the whole 9 yards. Destiny Helpers, there's 3 women involved in that. I was one of them, but there's 3 of you involved in Destiny's Helpers. And I watch with that too and the growth of that. We're business women. As you know, I am a certified motivational life coach, keynote speaker, founder of the Let's Talk Women's Conference, and small business startup consultant, where we wear many hats. So speaking of the Let's Talk Women's Conference, I'm in the planning stages of the 2nd annual conference, and I will be giving away a free ticket every live up until the conference. I'm sorry. So if you're watching and you would like to be entered to win a free ticket to the 2nd annual Let's Talk Women's Conference happening on Saturday, April 26th, I need you to email your phone number and name to info@oluMuley.com. That's info, INFO, @oluMuley, which is my name, very simple.com. Just put contest for ticket in the subject line, and all I need is your name and phone number so I can contact you should you win. So that's just for your chance to win a free ticket to the Let's Talk Women's Conference coming up on April 26th. It is going to be, I hate to use the word empowerment over and over and over again, but it will be empowering and transforming. You will not want to miss it. Call a friend, tag a friend. And something happened last year with my conference that I'm introducing this year, but it happened by accident last year. I had a lot of people calling and saying, ooh, that date, I can't make it. But I'd love to buy a ticket and support you for you to get to somebody. So this year, there's actually a section on my website when you go to buy your ticket. If you want to tick the box that you're buying it to bless somebody, you can do that. And I give it away either on the lives or I give it to somebody that I know would like to come, but for whatever financial means can't.
Right.
So buy a ticket for yourself, invite a friend to buy a ticket to bless somebody, just buy a ticket. You're going to want to be there. All right, let's go back to our talk. So we talked about Tabia, her accomplishments, her heart posture, why she does what she does. Why don't you tell people what you've got going on this year? How many properties has your group purchased?
Yes.
I mean, I've been watching. I've been watching.
It is. So last year, literally in about 2 months, I raised over $500,000 for some investment projects and some really cool projects that's happening in the city.
Wow.
In the group itself, up until now, there have been about 12 transactions. We're doing one right now. Also, it's a 5-plex, so that's going to be exciting. You saw that?
I did.
I'm so excited for this.
You
have no idea.
I didn't know 5-plexes. I didn't know there was 5-plexes.
Oh,
I know there's triplexes.
There's triplexes,
and duplexes.
4-plex, 5-plex, 6-plex.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I saw that and I went, what, a 5-plex?
Yeah, right, 5-plex, and at $500 something.
I know.
Once you renovate that, you add maybe $150,000 in. That's gonna double the value.
Oh, instantly. But then again, if you rent it out, or you sell it or you flip it, I mean the opportunities and the possibilities are endless.
And the goal is, so we buy things to sell. These days, what I want to push people is you want to hold on to your investments. You know why? Because as you know, the time goes by, the mortgage comes down, rent gets higher. You can then pull from your investment. That's tax-free money. When you sell your investment, let's just say you make $500,000. You sell it, you got to pay capital gains, you got to pay all these other fees. Imagine now if you can refinance and take some of that equity out, your tenants are paying for that for you.
And then you take that equity out and then you buy another property with it.
Buy another property, maybe you build something else. Maybe you put that in a tax-free savings account, in a more safer savings. Because there's different in your portfolio. But you want to ensure that you are literally hustling and putting towards, there's this nest egg. And it's the golden rule where you want to have this nest egg and you want to be able to pull 5% from that of it every year. So let's just say you have $1 million, right, in your nest egg. What's 5%? Maybe 50,000. It's like you want to have wealth is being able to have funds and it's not depleting.
So you want to be able to have accessible funds, accessible cash without depleting your nest egg.
There you go. Exactly.
And what are we doing with that 5% that we're pulling out?
You're surviving, you're living, you're traveling. You've moved to Costa Rica and you're renting a villa out there. But whatever it is, your investments, wherever they are helping you making money. Because I can give you $5,000, $500,000 right now. But if it depletes in the next 5 years, it's done.
It's worthless.
But imagine now,
worthless, but
yes, but imagine now it's like you have it in a savings, you have it in an investment, and it continues to grow. And you continue to just survive, maybe 5%, maybe some years it's more, some years it's less. But we have to truly start thinking, like, I want a good life.
I hear you.
I want like this whole hard life. I have 3 jobs. It's almost like this badge of honor that we wear to struggle.
Wow. You say that and that's a gut punch moment. We do wear that I've got 10
I
balls in
got
the
10,
air. I can't
yes.
afford to drop
I
any
can afford
badge.
this. Like, I'm struggling, like, I need this, like,
Tired and oh my gosh,
yeah.
that's so true. So
So
I have a few questions for you
talk to me.
because I'm watching again. I'm part of the WhatsApp group, and I say to
Yes.
myself, okay, Olu, you haven't invested. How about the people in
Yeah.
business?
No,
But
stay
I
in there, man.
can't.
No, you as
I'm
you should. Yeah,
so
stay.
intrigued. So I watch with pride as this property got purchased, and three women, I should say women
Yes.
because it's really women.
Yes.
Three women purchased that property, and
Yes.
5 women purchased that property.
Yes.
I'm watching that. So how does that work when there's 5, 10
10.
people part of a group?
Like a group.
So are they buying it to keep it for 5 or 10
Yep.
years, then pull out the equity,
Yep.
divide it up between the 5 of them, but keep the property
Yeah,
there as
it's a
the
great
tenants or
question.
whatever are? How does
Yes.
that work with a group of 10 women,
Very,
let's
very
say?
good question, because
Yeah.
sometimes the fear is, I always hear, oh, I don't want to, what if this person does that? And what if they sell the property from underneath me? There's different rules for every group.
Mhm.
And before you even get into it, before you sign any contracts, you first want to see, can I invest with this person? Do
Mhm.
they seem like they're going to be consistent? Will they have our back if we got to pull out and put in more funds,
Mhm.
right? So you always have your contracts in place.
Mhm.
And out of the 5, maybe 2 people are on title. Maybe all 5 people are on the title of the mortgage.
Mhm.
There's different ways that you can spin it.
Mhm.
Right now, I want to push to all my clients, hold on to it as long
as you
as
can.
at minimum 5 years, unless the market goes haywire and you're like, yo, we could pull out 300,000. If you can hold on to your assets, that's what you call old money. Old money when you purchase something $10,000 back in the day. And now those same families
Mhm.
are selling those properties for $2 million.
Mhm.
So it's a long haul.
Okay.
And you have some that are short term, and you do short term and some long term investments, but you either pull equity out and we hold on to it, but everything is documented. We all have equity shares. You might have 25% equity share. I may have 40%. That person may have 10%. There's so many ways to do what they call, these are syndicate real estate investments.
Mhm.
You do it as a group. So you could have 4 properties that you're on, 25% on one, 25% on another one. Before you know it, that equity now becomes $1 million in 10 years, 15 years.
Wow.
Right?
So I know that when it comes to investing, particularly with Black people,
Yes.
I will say this, there is that fear.
Yes.
And that fear is from a lack of knowledge. We just don't know enough about investing to be comfortable doing it. Now, I know that I'm working in law firms and working with a lot of wealthy people. I know their reaction for when the stock market drops.
Yes.
They run and they buy.
It's excitement.
They run and they buy, they snatch up everything.
100%.
And we do the exact
you want to
opposite.
sell it now. It's the fear.
We start pulling out.
Yeah.
We start pulling out, and they're like, "No, grab this, grab
is
that," because what goes down has to come.
And so that's what you want to buy. So this is what I'm learning, right?
Yeah.
This fear comes from, because a large majority of Black people typically have less resources than other cultures for whatever reason, right? I mean, well, not for a reason. There was times when we couldn't own properties, our families couldn't get loans. So there's generations of that. But the fear is, oh, if I lose this, who do I have to depend on to help get me out this rut, to help pay my rent, to help pay my mortgage? A lot of these other cultures have family traditions where,
got it.
You understand?
No,
where
that's very true.
I know that my parents can do this for me. I know that.
That's very true.
But I've learned, with all that being said, depending on the groups and the circles that you're around, there are many Black people that are doing exactly what we're talking about. My parents, I'm so fortunate and lucky that my hundreds of thousands, my parents have helped me to build up. I'm not self-made by any means.
None of us are.
But I had the support from my parents who allowed me to take risks. That if I was ever in a jam, they would help me. My husband, okay, Tabia, whatever you got to do. There was a time when I lost my job and he was working. I've always had support from people to take these crazy risks. And most people don't have that. So now I understand. It's like, why are my people like, what's this fear? But then I also realize sometimes we're prioritizing the wrong things, because I know people that will drop $3,000 on a baby shower, drop $3,000 on a party, but you can't drop $3,000 in a TFSA or an RESP. So it's
priorities. Our priorities are warped.
Yes.
That's absolutely right. I know what you're talking about, because if you saw the struggle I went to price my tickets for my conference.
Right.
I was this close to the mental
No.
hospital. And I know I sound like I'm dramatic, but
No, I
it's
feel you.
very true, because I'm always thinking about,
What can they afford?
thank you. And I won't tell you what I wanted to charge.
Yeah.
The first price. I won't tell you what that was, because it was so
But and
ridiculous.
it probably was worth. But I
It
believe
was
that.
it was
Yes.
so
It
low.
was too low.
And my friend looked at me and she said, "Oh, absolutely not.
Good.
Absolutely
I'm
not."
happy you
And
had her.
I know, and I gave her the same argument about, but
But yeah.
times are rough, blah
Yes.
blah blah. And
I
she's
know
like,
all too well.
Olu, people complain about things being rough, things being tight, and they are, but they will go
Yes.
spend $2,000 on a purse that they like, even though they don't
100%.
have $2,000 to put in the purse. Don't
Facts.
worry about what people can or cannot afford.
You're so
If it's
right.
something they want to go to, they will find
They
the
will
money.
find the
And it's the
money.
same thing for investing. If this is important to you, if you want to do
This is
it,
it.
you'll go to your husband and you'll say, listen, let's
Yes.
take that money out of the RSP. Let's take the money out of the line of credit.
Yeah.
Let's do
100%.
now. We say that, and all that is very true.
Yeah.
How do you counter the argument of, what happens if I lose it? Because
No, for sure.
with great rewards come great risk.
100%. So what happens if I lose it? But what happens if I don't? This is the problem. It's one thing, you can't teach mentality. So you will always have those who are like, well, what happens if I lose it? Yeah, you could lose it. But what happens if I date this guy, doesn't work? We've taken risks on
jobs,
men,
partnerships,
all of these things that we take, risks that will not bring us back any return. Purchase a vehicle that you're paying crazy interest for in monthly payments, and by the time you drive it off the lot,
it's
it
50%
depreciates.
depreciates. Yeah.
So what if I invest this and it works? And I get it. Don't invest if you can't. If you have $5,000,
don't invest,
and
all
you can't
of it.
affect it, and you can't lose all of that, then don't. Right.
So if you have a line of credit where the limit is $10,000,
yes,
and you haven't touched it, you just kind of have it there for safekeeping.
Yes.
Would you suggest someone take that and invest with it, or perhaps the YC would do is maybe take 5,000 of that and invest it in just on the off
for sure.
chance?
So I'm not a financial advisor.
Nope.
But I'm a risk taker, right? And I'm in investments. And if you have a line of credit that's charging, let's just say 5%, right? And you can maybe do some private lending, okay? That's going to bring you 15 to 20%, okay? And even with private lending, that's also risky.
Everything's risky.
But if you could take a portion of your line of credit, potentially, let me try this. If I can make 15%, my line of credit payback is 5%, you've made 10%. So you can still pay back your line of credit, and now you still have some fun. It's all about leverage, because if you don't leverage your debt, what can you leverage? You cannot save at the rate that the market is raising, right? People are living paycheck to paycheck.
Oh, people are 2 paychecks behind.
Yeah, and it's challenging. It's because of, consumerism. They're not paying people enough, right? People have kids. They want you to put your kids in activities. So, but you have to try. You got to try and take a risk, because if not, then you have to be good, and which is fine. If you are content with just, getting by, potentially working until you're 75, not really having any savings, then no problem. But if you want more, those who are willing to take the risks are the ones that actually deserve more.
I hear you, and there is such a huge risk, but as you said, there's a risk in everything. When we open our front door and walk out there, that's a risk.
Every day we drive on the highway,
that's a risk. So ultimately, all the women that are part of your group and are investing and have properties, and they all know they're going to wait for at least 5 years before they even start to look at what's there, what can we pull out, or do we have to wait another 5 years before we can? And they all know that. Are there women in the group that are part of multiple properties?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I am so proud. Like,
wow.
I just can't wait to get everyone together to talk. So I had my last women's event, and it was nice for the women to get up, and there's women that I've been talking to for 7 months that finally pulled the trigger.
Wow.
Right? That are investing in 3 different projects that we have going on, that have brought their men in, and they remember, like, I wish we did this earlier. It literally brings me so much joy. I can't even, so I'll tell you this much. I would always wonder to myself, like, universe, God, I just want to be able to put money in people's pockets. If I had, I want to give. I enjoy pleasing people, making people feel good. I'm a people pleaser. It is what it is. And so, but I realize now I am prepping and setting people up to be millionaires. That is my way of me being able to give people and do for others. And to see women, 15 years, girl, they've been waiting to purchase something, invest. Doesn't matter the age, whether you're 35, whether you're 65. I just had a meeting with a lady. She's wanting to retire in 5 years. We had a strategy session last night. Her husband was there. They were so excited. We're about to pull the trigger, take some funds from her townhouse, purchase another duplex. In 5 years' time, she will have an extra $500,000 minimum to add to her nest egg.
Wow.
So I just want to continue to educate. I want to show real world examples. I don't want to encourage you to do anything that I'm not doing.
Or that you're not comfortable with. You've got to be comfortable with this. And the one thing I love about this, one thing I love is the generational wealth aspect.
Oh my gosh.
All of us that busted our tails to buy houses, that was the main reason why, to leave something to our kids.
Definitely.
Right? And for me, it was like, okay, by the time my daughter's ready to buy a house, I can pull equity out of my house as her down payment. Now, the market that we're in, I would have to pull out everything out of my house, and that probably still wouldn't be enough for her to buy a house. So things have changed.
So that's the one thing. There's ways. There's always ways.
That's the one thing I love about what you're doing. It's the generational wealth. It's that the ones that are coming after us, their struggle won't be as hard as ours.
Definitely, and it shouldn't be as hard.
Yeah. That's what we want to achieve. So you've got over 200 women in your investment club. And quite a few of them I know are investors. They have properties.
Yes, their properties are on their second properties.
Wow.
Yes, they're doing other like private lending. And with all this, there's excitement, but there's also challenges. With the private lending, markets have changed. So when you're supposed to get paid out, 6 months later, we haven't been paid out yet. But with all that being said, you're still continuing to gain interest on your money.
Okay.
Right? And there's many situations, not too much of my information, but I did a private loan for $250,000. Yeah. And the goal was that I would be paid out in a year. We're going on 2 years, but I have a lien on the property.
Okay.
Right. I have a lien on the property. I get my monthly payments. Even for other projects, maybe I don't get the monthly dividends, but we have our legal contracts. So I don't really move in the same space of fear as most people. Right. I make sure I have my legal contracts in space. I keep up with whoever the buyer is, whoever the client is. And I just continue to understand that 3 years from now, I'm going to need something. 5 years from now, I'm going to need something. Because when you're so short-sighted, what's $5,000 today? That's gone in a few weeks.
No, seriously, that is not right. Like this is not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
It's not you. If you're coming in and you're scared and you're nervous and you're trembling, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, because you're going to bring that energy with you.
And it causes me stress.
That's what I was going to say.
Yes,
you're going to bring
100%.
that energy to the project, and you don't want that kind of energy. To be a little bit nervous and anxious is fine.
Of course.
You would be crazy not to be. But if you're like clinching, don't do it. It's not for you,
and that's okay.
And I love the fact that you're saying, like, now you started this for women. You were very intentional. You did not hide the fact that this is all about women.
Women, definitely.
And now you've got women saying, my husband's interested.
Yes. So I have like where it's like some women are in there, but like their husband's on the side.
On the side.
So, yeah. And I love it. And I love that I love to see when all the men that are around me, my business partners, Rohan Brown, Aaron Charles, my golden husband, my father, my guy friends, there's nothing short of support. That's why I truly feel like it's like I'm Teflon. Like nothing can break me because I have the support of people. And so when women have that support, whether it's their husbands, their partners, their friends, but even aside from that, when you're in a good tribe of women, who's stronger than women? Who's more visionary than women?
Yeah.
Right. And so we need to, what I want to ensure is that the women that I talk to, especially, if not for yourself, for your kids, at least.
For your kids, at least. I tell you, I watch with pride. Can't wait for that moment where I'm like, okay, Tabia,
Yeah, you're
sign
in.
me
I
up.
get
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm good to go. But for those listening, I mean, if not now, then
Then
when?
when?
If not this, then what?
Then what? I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard for quite some time, if you're going to invest in anything, let it be real estate.
Let it be real.
Let it be real estate.
It's proven time. Majority of millionaires
Start, yeah.
real estate.
Real estate. Real
How
estate.
else, Olu, can you purchase a home and in 5 years you gain minimum $250,000 equity?
Yeah.
How else can you do, unless you're putting hundreds and thousands and millions in stocks, where else can you do that? Gambling, okay.
I can,
Right?
you know, my mom was the first person to start braiding hair with extensions back in the day, way back in the day. So you can imagine how busy her shop was.
Right.
Like we were just braiding and braiding and braiding
That's
and braiding.
amazing.
And I remember I've had this conversation with her over and over and over again. Mom, why did you not buy a house back in those days?
Right.
I mean, with the amount of money you made,
cash on cash,
and with what the houses cost back then,
girl,
you could have had 3 properties, one that we lived in and 2 that you rented out. Can you imagine what they would be valued at now?
Yes.
I said, why didn't you? And she said, it's not a conversation your father wanted to have. And I said, but okay, then you
no, right.
Like I guess I just didn't understand.
No, right.
What does it have to do with the price of eggs?
Yeah.
Like, you know, what do you mean it's a conversation he didn't want to have?
Yeah.
But I have to be respectful and mindful of how things were back in the day. Different times.
Yeah.
Now women are very much independent, very strong-willed, and their husband can say, "Oh no, I don't want to do this," and you can say, "Okay, honey, that's no problem."
Cool. Yeah.
Yo, Tabia, hit me up. Right? So we can totally do that now, and totally do that
for
now.
Sure.
But that wouldn't happen back in the day.
No, different times.
If your husband said no, the answer was no, because the money's coming out of the account. They're going to see it come out of the account.
Definitely.
So I run a partner, and for those of you guys don't know what a partner or a susu or a box or a member is, call somebody and ask them. But I run a partner, and I had a girl. She's still in my partner. I better be careful not to call her name. Yeah. But she's in there with her and her husband. But she has her own separate on the side.
I love it.
We're talking one day, and her husband's there while she's talking to me, and she almost, because she's like, "And when's my draw?" Forgetting that he's there. And she's like, "Oh, I mean our draw." And we got off the phone, and she called the next day. We were laughing. She's like, "I almost gave," but yeah, they're in. Their 2 hands are in together, husband and wife.
Right.
And then she got her own whole full hand on the side.
I love it.
She said she was raised by a grandmother who said, I don't care who you marry. I don't care how much you trust and love him. Yeah. Have your own money on the side. You must have a little stash on the side. The days are different. So my mom said that, and I was like, so what does that mean? I have to be mindful and respectful of how things were done then versus how they're done now. Yeah. And now it's, okay, honey, let's do this together, or I can do it on my own.
That's it. And then when your partner then
sees the fruits of your labor.
Like, oh, sometimes what I've learned is, and this might not be for all men, but it's like if the idea didn't come from them, if they weren't the first one to be like, then it's almost like, so you sometimes, ladies, have to make them feel that
it was their idea.
They had a piece in the pie of that idea, right? We know what's really good, because if we don't get it done, it doesn't always get done.
That's a really good point that you make. And I have to always be aware of the fact that men are raised to be providers, to take care of, like the last episode we did, we talked about, is it okay for women to support their men financially?
Okay.
That was the discussion. And that, for me, it's funny, I never gave my opinion after that show. I went home and I thought, I never gave my opinion.
I never gave your opinion.
I didn't. But my opinion is this. I don't have a problem with it.
Not at all.
I don't have, as long as you know what you're doing. What works for me and my spouse, should I have one?
Yeah.
I don't yet. But what works for me and my spouse may not work for you, and your husband may not work for Shireen and her spouse.
Definitely.
So you really have to see what works in your dynamics. But if I were married, and my husband was laid off for some time, and I had to hold the bag, I have no problem with that.
Definitely not.
I do have a problem with you getting very comfortable with the sofa.
100%.
That's a problem.
There's no
desire,
Contribution,
right?
yes. This is because contribution is not always
There
financial.
you go.
So in my dynamics with me and my husband, right? So I am now like, I do the real estate and
Mhm.
we're a team. We're a
Mm.
team in everything that we do.
I see you and your husband, and I see you, and he's right there, and I see you, and he's right
always
there. Like you guys
events.
are in a tandem.
And what we decided, I would say a couple years ago, is that, I mean, real estate is so good for us. So
Is that all
why
you guys
don't
are doing now? Is real estate?
real estate? And what's
Nice.
nice is the reason why I can grind the way that I do is because my husband is AAA father. So when I'm out here 8 p.m. doing deals, meeting calls 9 p.m., he's putting the kids to bed.
Oh,
He's
bless
cooking
him.
the dinner.
Mhm.
He's getting their school ready. He lets me sleep in. So I live for the grind.
But that's what you call a true partnership, and
Mhm.
that's what we're talking about in the last episode. Should your husband be the one that's not employed,
Yeah,
for whatever
for
reason, and
reason, yeah.
there's a number of reasons
So, of
why,
course, yeah.
right? But when I come home, I expect the house to be cleaned,
Yes.
food cooked, kids bathed,
Yeah.
pajamas
Yes.
on, homework done.
Yeah.
I literally have nothing to do. That's
Agreed.
a true
That's a
partnership,
1
right?
million %.
And so I don't have a problem with
Yes,
supporting my man financially if I had to.
definitely. Yeah.
But there's got to be a partnership. There's got to be a give and take. And you nailed it right on the head when you said it doesn't have to be financial.
Of course not.
They
But there
don't have
has
to
to be the
contribute, but there has to be a
contribution. It
contribution,
has to feel like that we
a
are in
partnership.
this to get
Absolutely.
1,000%. Yeah.
So when you go back to that statement that you made about maybe try and let the man feel like he kind of came up with this idea.
Right.
I know where you're coming from.
Yes.
Men,
The
they have
ego.
egos. They have
The
egos.
ego is
I
like,
tell people all the time, women, we want to feel loved. We want to know that
yes,
you love us.
100%.
Men need to be respected.
Respected.
They
Yeah, it's so
need to be
true.
respected. So you have to find some creative way to give him his
That's it.
props and say, like, honey, remember when
Yeah,
you
yeah.
said, let's listen. However you get it done,
Yeah,
however you get it done,
100%.
get it done.
Definitely.
But I love that women are doing this. They're coming, they're putting their feet up. They're like, let's do this. And then the men are going,
Okay,
what's going on over
what's
there?
over there? Yeah.
Can I come?
I love it. I
think that's amazing.
Yes,
I love that. So keep doing it for women. I love
of
that. But look
course.
what's happening.
Definitely.
You're doing it for women. You have a women's group. You don't hide behind that, but you are affecting men and children.
And the youth is the biggest part because
yeah,
that's
blessings.
it. Mainly women.
Blessings.
Everybody gets to come in, but most importantly, your kids now, instead of waiting until they're 40, in their teens, in their 20s, let them and their friends get together and do something. Purchase a property. We can help them
at 18. Can you imagine?
Could you imagine that?
Oh my goodness!
By the time they're 30, they can retire.
Can I just tell you, my niece was dating this. My niece is going to kill me. I'm always bringing up her business. She was dating this guy back in the day.
Yeah.
And this is a true story of do not judge a book by its cover. He came in with the hair braided, and I was at that point where if I see one more black man with their hair braided, but he had the hair braids and the cornrows. He had the gold,
the gold
grills,
teeth. Yeah,
the whole 9 yards. And he walked in, and I was like, "Oh Lord,
here we go."
Right, here we go. And then I don't know how we got onto this conversation. I can't remember who was running at that time for prime minister or what have you.
Right.
And he was like, "Yeah, I'm not voting for so and so." And I remember turning and going, "You vote?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah. No, seriously, totally horrible of me. Totally judgmental of me, Miss Big Woman of God. Yeah. Totally judgmental.
We all are.
And he's like, yeah. And he went through all the candidates. This one, no. This one, no, for this reason, this one. And I'm like, and then another time we're driving and we got into a conversation about RSP. This guy was 18, eh?
I love that.
He said the second he got his full job, it was a part-time job, his next stop was the bank.
Good
to open up an RSP.
Do you see
I remember sitting there thinking to myself, you see you? You see you? So there are some kids out there that have that mentality. Of course,
and this is why I'm saying it's like you can't always teach it. A lot of it is mindset. A lot of people, you come from a family with two parents who save amazingly, they're investors, and
that's all you know.
Right? But then you could have the same kid too, and who doesn't care about those things. So it's the mindset.
It's the mindset.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing, Tabia. I watch with amazement. I still worry about you. I still go, Tabia, take a break. Take a break. But then I hear that you're on vacation. I'm like, oh yeah.
So okay. Balance.
But then I hear that you're on vacation.
I know.
I hear that you're on vacation, and then I see you in the group.
I know. A little, you know what it is? It never feels like it's like, oh my God, what am I doing? It just feels like I just want to stay connected I want people to know that you always have my support. And I have fun. Like you said, I travel the world.
I do. I
and
see
you're right.
that.
And I'm gonna learn this year to disconnect a little more, because if I can't get back to you today, they understand I can get back to you
The
tomorrow.
whole group is not going to fall
No,
apart.
right. No, it's true.
And I tell you
1,000%.
that because that's my platform.
Yes.
Take care of yourself. You guys heard me talk about putting your oxygen mask on first.
I like that.
And that literally came to me on the plane when I was just really upset about this woman telling me to put mine on before my child. Are you kidding me? But it's so true. As somebody who's the primary caregiver of my mother.
Yep.
Single mother to my daughter. I mean, she's almost 30, so it's not like she's a little girl.
Yeah,
but still, should something happen to me, who takes care of them? You've got your parents.
Yes.
You've got your husband.
Yeah.
You've got your kids. You've got this phenomenal platform that you've created. But you can't do any of that
if you're down.
Yeah, so you really need and so when you go on vacation, guys, I'm unplugging. What you need is an assistant too,
I know.
When you go away.
And it's funny because with my assistants, it's like she's like, Tabia, like I got this.
Yeah,
but you're right.
them.
This is the year 2025 is the year that I take a lot more time to myself.
You have to, because what you're doing is great. What you have started is phenomenal. And you want to keep fostering that. You want it to grow.
Right.
Because the next time you and I sit down to talk, it's not going to be investing for women.
No, right.
It's going to be investment club.
Yeah, period. Yes.
You're going to have men coming out of the woodwork. You're going to have 18-year-olds saying, how can me and my 4 buddies buy a property, right? That's what you're going to want to be pushing. Talking about generational wealth.
Exactly.
You want to tackle these 18 and 19-year-olds who are working part-time. And as my one friend said, you know, these kids these days, they get paid in front of a fan.
Yep.
My daughter, love her dearly, but she gets paid in front of a fan. And my mom said, what does that mean? And I said, imagine someone handing you a wad of bills and then turning the fan on.
No.
It's just gone. Oh, she thought that was so funny. But there are those kids that I was talking to my event coordinator.
Right.
And she said to me last night, because we were at the venue, she says, I am what's the word that she used? She's an avid saver.
I love that.
She's just like really passionate, really like about saving everything. I said, but what are you saving for?
That's it, because you can save and save and save.
But what are you saving for? Then what? And she's like, I don't know. She said, well, I was saving to buy a house, but and that's what she said. No, because the whole market changed, right? So what you need to buy a house now, especially by yourself, is a lot higher.
But people need to understand. And the thing is, I feel people just need to prioritize being informed, because even with the market changes, it does not mean you cannot buy the house. That's a cop-out.
You know what? But
right?
Education is power.
It is.
And that was going to be my last question to you. Education is power. And my last question to you is going to be this. Do you have, or do you plan on having regular workshops or educational courses?
I do them now.
But people can learn about, because education is power. A lot of people that don't invest, it's because they don't know. And they have these fears that, and what you're trying to do is build generational wealth.
Yes.
You've got generational fears that you have to break.
That's a good one. This is true. Generational fears
that you have to break.
This is true. Olu, all last year I had weekly Zooms. Right now I do bi-weekly masterclasses. Olu, if someone really wants to do something,
they can. You
can Google anything. You can be on Instagram searching anything. For those who, I'm gonna say this, for those who really want it, they will get it. And if they didn't get it, they didn't want it bad enough. I truly believe that.
I also believe everything is about timing. As a woman of God, I believe everything is about timing. And there's a time and a place and a purpose for everything.
True.
And so if it doesn't work out for me today, that's because it wasn't meant to be. But I think the first thing I think women have to do, or people in general that want to invest or buy property or what have you, we have to break through those generational fears that we have, that we've heard our whole lives. Some of it is things that we tell ourselves
100%
that we haven't even investigated that whether they're true or not. We just hold on to those fears.
100%.
Right.
One of the biggest things that I realized, right, dealing with especially Black women, especially, no matter how confidently a Black woman might walk and talk, deep down, she hasn't gone after the big goals, the big dreams, because it's
she doesn't think she can.
Imposter syndrome.
Oh, I have it.
It's almost like this feeling that I can't travel here. I can't do 5-star. I can't drive that nice car. I can't have this. And it's hard. And this is why representation is everything, right? The education piece is huge. They're talking to young Black girls and showing them real life examples is huge. The talking, you'll be surprised how many women in our investment club own several properties, Black women who have been doing it for years and years. And what I've learned too is that many Black people have tried things and they have been screwed over.
Yes.
They trusted the wrong person.
Yes.
So that fear comes from a lot of times.
It's warranted.
Yeah,
basically
it's
what you're
warranted.
saying is
Yeah.
it's warranted.
But this is the thing. When you get into a car accident, not everybody stops driving,
True.
right? You get some people remarry a second time. They didn't not get married because the first one was
Some
trash,
people marry the same person a second time.
right? So if we're willing to take, I don't want to come off bad, but people are willing to take risks with who they're having children with. That's lifelong. Taking a risk with who you have child with.
Yeah.
And you can't take a risk on your future to get the life that you want. And the last thing, we talk about mothers. Oh my God, I love my kids so much. Like I would die for my children. But will you live for your kids? Will you show your kids that I can be successful? I can be happy. It's not even just about money. Money is not everything.
It's not.
But it's a thing. Because with money, you can help your family.
We need it. I'm not a fan of money.
Yes.
And when I say that, people are like, what? And I should really explain what I mean is I'm not a fan of what people do for money.
Gotcha. That's
to get money, to maintain and obtain it, whatever the case may be. I understand that I need it. Obviously, bills have to be paid and I have to live. Totally get that. But there is a point where people go a little bit too far. I'll watch all these things on TV and I'll say, just how much money do they need to have?
No, I get you.
No, seriously. But what I would love is for my daughter's life to be a little bit better than mine. And what I would like is for her kid's life to be a little bit better than hers.
100%.
We have that fear. The fear is warranted, whether it's Black women or not.
Yeah.
The fear of not trusting the right people. And I, again, working as a law clerk in downtown Toronto law firms, you see these multi-$100 million deals. I worked on deals that were, the transactions were like $500-600 million. And you can have all the lawyers in the world, and you can have all the contracts in the world. And if you're going to get screwed over, you're going to get screwed over. It's that simple.
This is it.
So you have to take that chance. I'm pretty sure in any kind of investment.
I've lost lots of. Are you kidding me?
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I'm sure. But it does. But I lose the money. But I've made 10 times that.
Yeah.
And you have to know that you have to know that you deserve it. Once you believe it, once you can truly see yourself in that light, then you will go after it. And this is why, although I'll die trying.
Yeah, this I know. And I'm going to try to stop you from dying to try. But Tabia, before we sign off, why don't you look and tell the people how they can reach you, how they can become a part of your group?
Amazing, for sure. Ahead. So my email is info@tabiacharles.com. You can find me on Instagram. I have a personal page. So if you find me as Tabia Charles on Instagram, you'll find Destiny Helpers. You will find my real estate. And and Olu, of course. Anyone thinks my contact, you can search me online. Just Google Tabia Charles and everything will pop up my contacts and you can reach me anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, when she says anytime, she does mean anytime. But yes, you can look up her name, Tabia Charles Collins, or reach out to me. Yes. And I can get her at any time. I have all of her contacts and I'm not afraid to drive to her house. So yeah, reach out to me. And again, if you're listening and you want to be entered, for your chance to win a free ticket to the Let's Talk Women's Conference coming up in April, just send an email to info@olumuli.com. And all I need is your phone number and your full name to be entered. And I will reveal the winner of tonight's ticket tomorrow or Saturday once I get all the entries in. So I'll give you a full day to email me with your name and phone number to be entered. The next Let's Talk Women's Conference coming up in April is called Let's Talk About the Hidden Areas of Our Lives. And what we're going to be talking about, what I'm going to be talking about, is the areas of our lives that we hide. And not just from family and friends, but that we hide from ourselves. What are those areas? What are we hiding? How can we reveal them? It's coming off of last year's conference, it is going to be empowering and motivating, but transforming. The amount of women that left the conference last year and was in the lobby messaging me saying, "You've transformed me. I know what I'm going to do. I have to go home and do this and that. I have to clear out that drawer. I have to get that resume out again. It's transforming. You do not leave there the same way you came in. Let's talk about the hidden areas of our lives. To purchase a ticket, you can go to www.olumuli.com. I always caution everybody, if you want to avoid the credit card processing fee, just send the payment ticket by email. That's perfect. If not, there's a processing fee, as you guys know. And the processing fee is higher if you go through an Eventbrite. So the website's the best way to go. Bring a friend, buy a ticket to bless somebody. Just come. You'll be very happy you did, is all I have to say. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Tabia. This was great.
I'm excited for so I will be here in April. I'm traveling in May, but April I will be there. I'm going to bring a couple of friends.
Awesome.
I'm excited
yes,
for this.
Thank you. I'm super excited. I'm super excited about what God is doing through me and through Tabia. I love that we are passionate about what we do, and that shows. If we make a lot of money doing it, great. And if we don't, great. Like, that's just how passionate we are about what we do. So thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you very much, Tabia.
Thank you for having me.
And I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Be good, be safe. See you soon. Good night.
Good night.